Decade YouTube channel. Good afternoon, everybody. Distinguished delegates, dear colleagues and friends, show screen. Yeah, it's a generation problem. So, good afternoon and a warm welcome to this side event on implementing the United Nations Decade of Healthy Aging. We are grateful for having this opportunity, grateful to the Italian government and the organizers, a really fantastic organization of this conference. Now, my name is Manfred Huber. I'm in charge of aging and health at the Copenhagen Regional Office of the World Health Organization. Together here, supported by my colleague Yongji Yon. And in this side event, we want to engage with all of you to identify some key opportunities going forward under the decade. And so we want to listen to you for some inspiring examples about what global and regional action you have planned for the near future. What are the examples for your contributions that you would like to share and that can help us to make a success for the decade? Now, as the decade is clearly it's a global initiative. We are here today on behalf of colleagues at WHO headquarters in Geneva and also other regions. A group currently led by Alana Officer, who I think many of you may know or have met in person, and Alana sends her warm regards. However, I don't want to do injustice to all the other colleagues that have contributed originally to the idea, and we have some of them in the room. We have Ritu Sadana, we have Yuka, so we have colleagues supporting us. Now, the United Nations Decade of Healthy Aging, as I said, is a global collaboration led by the WHO. It's aligned with the last 10 years of the Sustainable Development Goals. And this decade brings together governments, civil society, international agencies, professions, academia, the media, and the private sector. So we want to have 10 years of concerted, catalytic, and collaborative action to improve the lives of older people, their families, and the communities in which they live. When the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed the decade, this declaration made it very clear that the decade both builds on the Madrid International Plan for Action on Aging, MIPA, and in that supports the implementation. So we are doing here the same things, focused, zooming in specific on health topics. And as you have seen maybe in the report, the synthesis report, the whole health commitment from Lisbon, this is really where more countries have crossed. We have done achievements, but also we still have challenges. So it's really one area and one commitment also from MIPA where it's really worth going deeper, and the decade does so. The decade also has helped us, and I would say this very personally, to overcome some of the fragmentation, to be fair, that we had among international organizations in the field of aging. And since the pandemic, clearly this coming together between the international organizations has very much, we have seen that this has accelerated. So never waste a good crisis. And you see this clearly from this MIPA conference. If you see the players, the speakers, I think it is a different game already. Now, the decade, I've heard this before, it has 4 action areas to improve health and well-being of older people. Very important, the focus, and it's not by accident that it's here. The number 1 is to change how we think, feel, and act towards age and aging. Then, of course, we have talked already in this conference about age-friendly environments, the need for person-centered, integrated care, health systems, and long-term care systems, much better fit for aging populations. And specifically in that, we need to tackle long-term care. It has to go much more become much more prominent, and you actually see this also during this conference. So I will say maybe when we come to some of the commitments a bit more about the enabling factors, but all these also have already been mentioned during the conference several times. Now, what are some of the major global activities and achievements so far? And I want to be very short here with just 3 examples. So the one is here linked to the first commitment, the global campaign to combat ageism. It has several components, building evidence, very important. Again, we hear this again and again during this conference. We are lagging behind here on some of the main measures. How can we reduce ageism without having measures? Also it's about tools, knowledge, coordination of evidence, and certainly all those things that we always know. It's awareness raising, capacity building. The next one is the platform. That is something quite innovative. We have a collaborative digital space. I think that is quite an adventure for WHO to do that, because that is open. It's an open invitation to everybody, to all of you, to contribute. And that brings together, first it's to listen to the voice of older people, other stakeholders, but it's also bringing together resources, support tools, publications, you name it. I mean, a wide range, and we hope that people are going on this platform find the evidence and the guidance they need. Now, everybody is welcome here. Just finally, and that's my last remark, we have currently the Healthy Aging 50 initiative, and I have been asked specifically to mention that because there's a deadline, but in 2 weeks' time. We're very good at WHO to setting tough deadlines. This is another one. It's already been prolonged for 2 weeks. Now, this is about helping us finding leaders in the field. So people across the globe that we can celebrate for their contributions to transform the world to be a better place to grow old. And it's a joint initiative, again, bringing different organizations together between World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, and UNECE. And I think we have a flyer on it, or if you need any more information, we can also provide this later. Now, I'm aware I'm not doing justice to other areas of work, long-term care, work on data, age-friendly environments, you name it. But what we would like to do is now to listen to your examples. So we would like to ask you basically one question, which is, if you can give us one example on how you have planned to contribute to the decade, or how the decade has inspired you, and yeah, maybe also what might be synergies with my MIPA. And while I give you a few moments to reflect on this question, I will be calling on the first three contributions. We are very glad that we have already some agreed contributions, and then afterwards, hopefully we have some time on an open discussion following that. So I would first like to call on Mrs. Annette Gibbons from the who is Associate Deputy Minister, Employment and Social Development from Canada. You have the floor for giving us a short example. Would you like to come here? Then it's, yeah, if everybody who would like then to talk maybe comes closer here, because we are also talking to the camera.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the WHO for inviting us here today for this. I'll be very short because I'm supposed to go and be on a panel in the plenary. We're doing a number of things to recognize the decade. The federal government, we're working with our provincial counterparts, the subnational government, in a forum of ministers that we have, doing a number of different things. We also have a National Seniors Council who are engaged in activities on countering ageism. And we've done a series of webinars recently which are focused on the particular topic. And so lots of activity underway. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And then we will hear from Mrs. Deborah Whitman, Executive Vice President and Chief Public Policy Officer from the AARP in the United States. The floor is yours.
On behalf of AARP, we applaud the World Health Organization for the development and launch of the Decade of Healthy Aging. It's an incredible opportunity to bring the global community together to address the needs of older adults. From the start, AARP has been a champion of the decade, so I'm going to tell you 5, which I know you wanted 1, but 5 different ways that AARP is supporting the decade. In fact, the focus of our global conference last fall was redefining health, new approaches to how we live and age, was explicitly created with the decade in mind. We had both UN Secretary General Guterres and WHO Director General Dr. Tedros speak at our conference. And we brought together global experts and stakeholders to discuss how we could support healthy longevity. We've also worked in collaboration with Foreign Policy Analytics to create an online toolkit of innovation and leadership in healthy aging, which includes case studies and other resources for policymakers interested in promoting healthy aging. The latest edition of AARP's award-winning annual periodical, The Journal, is dedicated to the 4 action areas of the decade, with articles by experts from around the world, including a wonderful framing article by Dr. Tedros. In addition, I'm happy to announce that this week we have launched a new resource, a catalog on national aging plans, to help identify best practices and to help promote the adoption and improvement of national aging plans around the world. Please check out our first report on aarpinternational.org, and we're working with the WHO and the UN officials to further develop and amplify these resources. Again, new news. Last week, the National Academy of Medicine released the Global Roadmap on Healthy Aging. AARP was one of the sponsors of this innovative report, which lays out the evidence base for healthy aging. And there's so much more. AARP works with international civil society organizations to strengthen research, data, and innovation to address data gaps and advance the leadership on issues affecting older adults' health and well-being. We believe that good ideas have no borders, so please reach out to us. We would love to collaborate with you further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah. It seems I have to pack some extra things for reading during my holiday. And with that, I would like to invite Marta Diablo, the Deputy Regional Director Acting of UNFPA, the Regional Office for Eastern Europe and Central Asia, to say a few words about new cooperation. Thank you.
Thanks, Manfred. And indeed, thank you for the opportunity. I represent United Nations Population Fund Regional Office based in Istanbul. And during the pandemic, one of the resident coordinators in Serbia approached us with alarming news. UN, how you're going to support the older persons during the pandemic, recognizing the issue of older persons and impact on their life. To be honest, we were caught a little bit by surprise. We were not ready. But this call definitely was a ringing bell for us to get united and all the systems in place to come up with a joint program on aging. So this is one example how a pandemic can trigger reflection, and we can quickly reconfigure our power and abilities to support the countries and the response in the region. As a result, we have now 5 partners: World Health Organization, UNFPA, United Nations Population Fund, Officer of High Commissioner for Human Rights, Help Age International, and I hope I'm not missing anyone, with whom we work together to address 3 issues in general. One is preparing the service delivery for older persons during humanitarian or crisis situations, so that their needs are really put at the preparedness plans, humanitarian response, very often neglected or forgotten group to be given equal attention in others. The other investment is related with the decade on healthy aging, and practically last year, for the first time, Serbia hosted the global report on aging and ageism, to be launched in a country that just started recognizing issues of concern and investing in policy documents that can be really a response of 21st century of what is happening in the country in terms of demographic shifts. So this is one example how a leadership from a member state can really drive the issues related about stigma and discrimination. For example, in the Western Balkans, this was well received and really was a galvanizing moment for many of the member states. I also want to flag the intergenerational and the aspect of the issues we are discussing today. UNFPA is an agency that works with young people up to 24 years of age. And very often the perception of age is affecting equally young people. You're too young to know, you're too young to decide, or you're too old to have an opinion and to be asked. So in a way, maybe it sounds very different age group, but they very often face and struggle from the same root causes of the stereotypes of the societies, how you are perceived. So I think to slow down the aging in Europe, we need to invest in this intergenerational healthy aging that can protect you to make good choices of life and behavior when you're younger, but this can also equip you at older age to be healthier, to live in better conditions and invest in your health and understanding how the relationship with the environment and the choices we make impact us in long term. So I see our collaboration is a great catalyst of coming up with new modalities of collaboration, but also adapting to the region and the needs of the countries and societies we serve. So thank you for the opportunity just to flag a few examples. More is happening in the countries, and I'm sure colleagues can share and the audience can share more from the country experience. Thank you, Manfred, for your leadership and WHO being such a great partner.
Thank you very much, Marta. Is somebody timekeeping? How much time do we have? We don't want to be in competition with the plenary, although I would enjoy to continue. 2 minutes. So one contribution. Who is fastest?
Thank you, Manfred. So, Greg Shaw, International Federation on Ageing. All of our work is built on the 4 pillars for the decade for healthy ageing. 12 years ago, we started work around trying to improve adult vaccination rates for older people. That work is still going on. We were the only organisation in the field of ageing doing it back then. Now there is numerous ageing organisations trying to promote better vaccine uptake rates for older people. 2 new areas that we're working on is brain health as it impacts function and cognition, and also vision health has been a long-standing program of ours that we're looking at how we can actually influence governments to invest more in vision health for older people. So that's 2 examples. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ritu, you want to have the last word.
Thank you, Manfred. Not the last word, but just a word. Just to say that we really appreciate the exchange of ideas within the region, we also have tried to really promote learning and exchanges across regions, across the 6 WHO regions and all countries. And in the baseline report for the Decade of Healthy Aging, we provide examples from around the world on ways to enhance each of the abilities that we have all agreed on are really important for healthy aging. Obviously, meeting basic needs, but learning, growing, and making decisions, ability to be mobile, building and maintaining relationships, and contributing to society, really addressing many of the themes that we've heard today from ministerial delegations. So it's still something I think that's worthwhile looking at because the report includes many contributions. It was hundreds of people, including IFA and HelpAge, among many, many others on the research side as well. So it's just another resource in our toolkit on exchanges on where you can take pilot projects and then also scale them up. So just to note that both teams at WHO headquarters on healthy aging and as well as on aging and health, they co-coordinate the decade on behalf of WHO, but very importantly with all of our UN colleagues and other stakeholders. But just to be clear, it's the 2 groups together that are coordinating it, and we need all the support we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ritu. And with that, I would like to thank all of you for having joined us today for this side event. And I'm sure we all look forward to the exciting messages that we get in the remaining sessions, the plenary sessions, and maybe also other side events. So again, thank you very much, and all the best for the continuation of the conference.